are cooking in the kitchen with Renee, and today we are going to make some homemade breadcrumbs. This is how I make my Italian seasoned breadcrumbs because the ones that you get in the store, they are way, way, way too expensive. So I decided that I was going to be making my own Italian breadcrumbs. So when I do my pork chops, they come out so tasty, and making your breadcrumbs from scratch has such a flavorful, distinctive flavor that, child, when you be coating them with them on your pork chops, child, you're going to be trying to suck that bone clean. You hear me? Because when I made it that one time, my husband was just so impressed of how it tasted so great that he was working them bones. You hear me? Working them bones. All right, so let me show you the steps that I do in order to make my homemade breadcrumbs. First of all, you need to get an old piece of bread, and most of the people in most families, they don't like the end part of the bread, but to me, I love this part because this is the most thickest, and the part that holds a sandwich or when you're making your toast, it just tastes so good because it's thick. Look at that. I love the end part of the bread. And then you take that whole end, and then you're going to slice it in individual pieces like this. Just take your knife and you're just going to cut them individually. And then you're going to take these and you're going to cut them in cubes like this. And then you're going to get you a baking dish, a sheet pan. It doesn't have to be oiled or sprayed or anything. And we're going to stick this in the oven at 350 because we want to make these bread pieces that are kind of hard into like croutons. So once they get nice and crunchy, we're going to take these out, and then we are going to put them in the food processor. We are going to blend them up, make them fine, and then we're going to add our Italian seasoning to it. And then we're going to put it in our airtight container. And then, boom, we will have some homemade breadcrumbs. You can do just plain breadcrumbs. You can do whatever seasonings you want to put on your breadcrumbs. And try not to make your baking sheet too full because you want to make sure that all the air and all the heat gets to each individual cube of the bread. Oh, and I save my bread bags, so when I make my homemade bread, I put them in these bags and I put them in the freezer. So remember, I'm always repurposing and reusing things that I already have in my kitchen. All right, guys, let's take this baking sheet over to the oven and let's get these things a cooking. So I got my baking sheet here. I'm going to stick this one in the oven. I don't know if I can do. I'll put this one on the bottom. Then I have another one right here. And we're going to stick these on the top. And that's what they look like in the oven. We're going to close these bad boys up. And like I said, I have it on like 350. And we're just going to wait until they get nice and crispy. It takes like maybe like 30 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes. All right, I'll come back when it's time to pull these croutons out of the oven. Took these out of the oven, and I like to move mine around just to make sure that they are all brown on the front and the back. And then I always like to take one and squeeze it, and if you see how hard I'm putting pressure on it and it's not, soft, you want them hard like a crouton, which these are. So now we're going to take them over to our food processor, and we are going to blend them up and make them into breadcrumbs. Woohoo! Alrighty, guys, let's get these homemade breadcrumbs made. As you can see, I have my breadcrumbs here, and I'm putting them into my food processor. So we're just going to scoop all this up in here. And we're going to grind these all up. Make sure you guys wash your hands really, really good whenever you're in the kitchen. I got another baking sheet of bread in the oven, still trying to get super, super hard. Let me check on that real quick. Yep, and this is the other tray that just came out of the oven, and they are ready to go. No, they're still little soft, so we're gonna stick those back in the oven. And by the time we grind this one all up, those other ones should be ready to go. All right, so let's grind these up and get our first batch of breadcrumbs made. All right, we put the top on here. All right, let me get situated. Pulse this a little bit so you can get the gist of how I'm doing it, and then I'll come back when they're all blended up, because this food processor makes a lot of noise. Are you ready? Here we go. Guys, as you can see, all my croutons have been blended up to the consistency that I like. Let me show you. Look at that. See how fine they are? That's just the way I like it. And I like to put mine in a bowl, because then I can add all my ingredients in the bowl, and then I can toss them, and then I can put them in my jars. This is the one I made some breadcrumb. Look at this, 8, 25, 23. Child, and I'm still working on those. And then these are my Italian breadcrumbs. See how much I have left? I don't have much left, so that's why I'm making some more today. So I'm going to go and get the other croutons that I made, blend them up, add this to the bowl, and then we'll come back and we'll put all the seasonings in here, and then we'll add it to this container. And if I run out of room, I'll just get another jar right here, and I'll start filling this one up, because I like to have at least 2 jars of each. 2 jars of the plain and 2 jars of the Italian seasoning. But we use mostly the Italian seasoning. I put the plain ones when I'm doing things like my meatloaves and stuff, because I wanted to have that crunchiness of the breadcrumbs, but then I want to be able to add my own extra seasonings into my meatloaf. All right, guys, so let me get those other breadcrumbs, grind it up like this, and then we'll come back for the fun part. Woohoo! Guys, so I have it all in my bowl right here. And I usually go to the dollar store when I don't have all the ingredients I need from my garden. So let me tell you, when you go and buy the Italian seasoning from the DT store, let me tell you what the ingredients are. They have, all it is thyme, and you know we all have thyme in our gardens. And oregano, we have that too. Marjoram, I don't have that, so I'm going to have to get some seed and grow that. Basil, we have that. Rosemary and sage. So I have all those ingredients. The only ones I'm missing, but they're growing out in my garden, is the rosemary and this marjoram. I don't have those, but I have everything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this Italian seasoning from the DT store. So I'm going to open this up, and we're just going to dump this in here. That's why I'm telling you guys, when you go to the grocery store, look at the ingredients that are on the back of the bottle, because most of the time we already have this growing in our gardens, or we already have that stored up. So like I said, I are gonna already have thyme already growing in my garden. So I'm going to double up on my thyme. I'm going to double up on my oregano. I'm going to double up on my basil. And I'm going to double up on my rosemary. And I'm going to double up and double down on my sage. And this marjoram, I'm going to have to, like I said, I'm going to have to research and get some seeds because I've never tried to grow this before. So I got to do some investigating and see where I can get the seeds from, get them started, and get this growing so I won't have to go to the DT store and pay 125 because I'm sure now these seasonings are probably going to be 150 and up now that the DT store is starting to increase their prices. So let me bring you on down so we can pour this seasoning into this bowl and we can mix it all up together. All right, so I usually just pour the whole container in this bowl and then I just mix it up. And it doesn't matter. I just left these breadcrumbs in a little bit longer, and that's why my breadcrumbs have a little darker color to them. But you know what? This kitchen smells amazing because of the aroma of the breadcrumbs. Oh, this smells so good, you guys. So I usually just dump it all in there. And keep mixing it. But I am so happy that making these Italian breadcrumbs are so easy to make. And like I said, we have majority of these ingredients already in our garden. And don't think I'm not going to keep this container. Remember, repurpose, reuse. I'm going to use that so when I grow all of those herbs in my herb garden, I'm just going to mix them up and put them right back into this container right here. Why throw this away when it has the label that you're trying to make, which is Italian seasoning, and it's already there for you? Instead of you trying to figure out and going out and buying more bottles, unless you just want everything in your kitchen to look uniform. Me, I'm like, if I don't have to spend the money, I'm not going to spend the money. So, all right, so let me get my funnel, and we are going to put it in this already existing Italian seasoning jar. So let's get my funnel. We're going to top this bad boy on here. And then we are just going to scoop it in there. Scoop it, scoop it, scoop it. And it smells so good, you guys. And this is what it looks like. Let me show you. See, when it's all mixed up, doesn't that look good? So let's put this up here. And let's start putting it in there. This is, oh, it smells so good. It almost smells like stuffing, you know, the Thanksgiving stuffing or that stovetop stuffing. That's what it smells like. Let me show you. I'm going to put the top on it, shake it up a little bit so you guys can see what it looks like. Shaky, shaky, shaky. So I can incorporate it with my other breadcrumbs. And these will last a very long time. Look at this. Doesn't that look good? Now I'm going to write on here Italian seasoning. And these are just some old canning tops, lids and stuff that I use because I'm not going to use these to can with. So I just use my old ones for my jars. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful, you guys? And that is your homemade Italian seasoning. And I still have some more, so what I'm going to do is I am just going to start a new jar right here. And we're just going to pour the rest of this inside of this jar. So what I need, breadcrumbs, Italian breadcrumbs, Child, you ain't gotta go to the store. That's my mission this growing season, is to get my pantry restocked up with all of the things that I know I cook on a day-to-day basis. Excuse me for putting the bowl in the way, but I want to make sure I get all of this good seasoning in this bowl. We don't want to waste any of this at all. None of it. It's too good. Look at that. And that little bit, look how much that made. See? Look at that. So excited. So let me bring you up. So just for heads up, you guys, you can make your own Italian seasoning. Look at this. Okay, guys, so I hope that you have enjoyed this content today with another episode of Cooking in the Kitchen with Renee, making homemade breadcrumbs. So you take your leftover bread that you know you're no longer going to use and turn it into some delicious breadcrumbs, whether it's plain breadcrumbs or Italian seasoning. Come on, you guys. I know you can do it, and I know you want to make sure that you have all the seasonings that you need for this upcoming season. I know I am, because like I said, I am going to expand my herb garden. So when I need ingredients to make my Italian seasoning, I won't have to go to the store. Where am I going to go? Straight out there to my garden and harvest the seasoning I need to make some beautiful Italian breadcrumbs or some plain breadcrumbs. All right, you guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you're having a beautiful day. And Miss Renee will definitely see you in the next video. Don't forget to give your girl a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you can always see what's happening over here in Renee's garden. Love you all, and take care, and go make you some breadcrumbs. Homemade breadcrumbs. And stay out of those grocery stores. You don't need to go over there no more. You got all the ingredients you need in your house and in your garden. All right, you guys, take care.